properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees by great saints, who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. Please repeat. Exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees, by great saints who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shishikotantai Mai Prashishi Ki Jai. The absolute truth is sought by different persons in different ways, yet he remains inconceivable. Nonetheless, devotees like the Pandavas, the Gopis, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan do not need to practice conventional processes of meditation to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he remains with them through thick and thin. Therefore, a saint like Narada, understanding the difference between transcendentalists and pure devotees, always prays that the Lord will be pleased with him. Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Savadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama. Since all the persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality. The Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all the great saints, observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation to please God. So it's a spontaneous class. I haven't been prepared for this, so please bear with me. So here in the verse, described that exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they cannot properly describe Krishna's wonderful qualities and pastimes, his greatness, his divinity. They're limited because they're not unlimited like Krishna. So limited capacity, although Lord Brahma is the most intelligent person in the universe, in his body is made of pure intelligence. Still, you cannot understand Krishna's. When Krishna killed Aghasura, and Brahma, he couldn't understand that this little coward boy was the Supreme Lord himself. He was bewildered, and he wanted to know. He tried to test Krishna by his own limited powers, by stealing the cowherd boys and cows and calves. And we can see that Krishna expanded himself. So when Brahma stole those cows and cowherd boys, then Krishna expanded himself into all those cowherd boys and cows and calves, exactly the same forms and qualities, and exhibit the same kind of features and natures of those cowherd boys and calves and cows. And Brahma, he thought he'd stolen them, but he came back just to see, because the time difference is that like one year here is like 1 second in the spiritual, in Brahma Loka. So then Brahma could see that there were still the cowherd boys and cows and calves playing with Krishna, and he couldn't understand. He just stolen them and put them in a cave, and now they're still there. And so he became really bewildered. And then when he realized, he came down to see what this was, what was who were all these cowherd boys and calves. Then Krishna expanded himself into all. He all the cows and cowherd boys, they manifested their Vishnu forms. So Lord Brahma could understand that actually Krishna is the source of all the Vishnus, and he's the source of all living entities, and he actually expanded himself into all those cows and cowherd boys. So Brahma couldn't understand all this divine qualities of Krishna because he was bewildered by the Yoga Maya, and he could see that Krishna is just a little cowherd boy playing a flute, and he couldn't understand his divinity. So if Brahma, with all his great intelligence, he's helping to create all the living entities in the universe. He's so powerful, he's helping the Lord in such, great creation. But still he couldn't understand Krishna, because Krishna is not understood by intelligence, but by devotion. So the more we devote ourselves to Krishna, the more we surrender to him, then Krishna reveals himself. It's not by our intellectual capacity that we can understand the unlimited. So Krishna himself says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that one can only know me by devotional service, know me as I am, not by studying the Vedas, not by austerities, penances, giving charity, all these different things that are considered very exalted. Still, that's not the means of seeing Krishna. Krishna says that only by devotional service can I be seen as I am. So, and then there's a nice verse where Prabhupada explains that the material senses, with the material senses, blunt material senses, we cannot understand Krishna. But when we chant and hear about Krishna, when we use our tongue in the service of the Lord, then Krishna reveals himself. And Prabhupada says the tongue is used for two purposes. One is to taste, and one is to articulate sounds. He says by taking prasadam and by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, then that purifies our senses, and by that Krishna reveals himself. So these are the two processes by which Krishna reveals himself, by purifying our senses, especially the tongue. The service of the tongue is to chant Hare Krishna, to glorify Krishna, and to taste Krishna prasad. And by this method, it's a simple process. Krishna becomes pleased, and he reveals himself. And Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So as we surrender to Krishna, then the more he'll reveal himself to us. Krishna says he's just as the lamp, he's like the lamp in the heart, and he destroys all the ignorance. And by his mercy, we can understand him and understand the process of going back to Godhead. So, and even Lord Shiva, he's exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva is so powerful, he's in charge of destroying the whole universe. And he's also considered the greatest devotee, Vaishnava Yatashambhu. But still, he doesn't completely understand Krishna. And we can see that sometimes he becomes like, he fights with Krishna. Like there's a story in the Bhagavatam, the Krishna book, where one of Banasura, who's a devotee of Lord Shiva or something, and then Shiva takes the side of Banasura, so even although Lord Shiva is so exalted, he still gets bewildered by Krishna's divinity. So then what of us? How can we understand Krishna when he's so inaccessible even to the great demigods? But Krishna reveals, like here says, that devotees like the Pandavas, the Gopis, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan do not need to practice conventional processes of meditation to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he remains with them through thick and thin. So, so they are not fully conscious that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, because due to excessive love, they don't see Krishna as God, but they see him as the most lovable object. So for them, it doesn't matter if Krishna is God or not, they still love him. It's not because he's God that they love him. So they remain with Krishna through thick and thin, so it's not like they only love God, love Krishna because he's God. We're not on that level because we don't have love for Krishna, so we're trying to develop that love. So we have to go through the step-by-step process that's enjoined in the Shastras. So we have to hear about Krishna, we have to chant Krishna's glories, we have to understand all the basics from Bhagavad Gita to Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Charitamrita to understand Krishna's divinity. And then we can think of learning to love him because we're not on that level. We can't jump to love of Krishna automatically. We have to purify our senses, we have to purify our mind and our heart from all these material desires. And then gradually, step by step, we go through all the stages of Shraddha, and then Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti. And then when most of our anarthas are cleared from our heart, then we come to the stage of Nishtha, where we're steady in devotional service. And then we get a taste, ruchi, and then attachment, asakti, then bhava. Bhava is the preliminary love of God. That's when we develop some ecstatic love for Krishna. And then prema. So it's not, we can't jump from Shraddha with a little faith right up to prema. It's not possible. I mean, Krishna Rupa Goswami set out the standard of devotional service. This is a step-by-step process. So we can't artificially think we're on a higher level than we are. If we are still got anarthas in our heart, we can't pretend that we've got bhava. It doesn't make any sense. So so that's the whole point. This whole process of devotional service is to help us become fixed, become attached to Krishna. And we can't become attached to Krishna unless we're hearing about him and reading about him and speaking about him and remembering him. So the first process is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So these processes are, so important that we can't do without them. Even on the later stages of Bhava and Prema, still Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam is there, because that's the process. We're constantly hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. So these great devotees, like pure devotees, like the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Pandavas, the Gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, they don't have to practice sadhana bhakti because they're already in the level of prema. And therefore a saint like Narada, understanding the difference between transcendentals and pure devotees, always prays that the Lord will be pleased with him. So Narada Muni, although he's also a great pure devotee, but he's not on the level of the Brajvasis. He's a transcendentalist. And we can understand this from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita as well, because when he's directing Gopa Kumar, helping him on his journey to go back to Godhead, there's a point where when Gopa Kumar does go to Goloka Vrindavan, at that point, Gopa Kumar, Narada Muni and Uddhava are having a conversation, and Narada Muni says, look, he's actually going to a place where I'm not eligible to go to. I'm not actually on that level of Braj Prem like Gopa Kumar is. So although Narada Muni is such an exalted transcendentalist, he's the spiritual master of Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Vyasadeva, so many great exalted souls. Still, he's saying that these great devotees like Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda and the cowherd boys and gopis are better than him. And although this is also his humility as well, because Narada Muni is such a great devotee that he sees everyone else is better than him. Even his disciple Prahlad Maharaj, he's glorifying his disciple Prahlad Maharaj in the Bhagavatam, and Dhruva Maharaj, because he's such an exalted soul. But his type of prema is different from the prema of the Brishbasis. But still, he's a pure devotee. They're all pure devotees. Is there any questions or comments? If I stop, it's 5 minutes left. Yes, Renus. Well, some people take monavrat, isn't it? They take the vow of silence. The yogis or some people like that who don't, like Prabhupada says that this is not necessary for devotees because they can talk about Krishna. They don't have to be silent. Silence means you don't talk nonsense, But because some people can't talk anything but nonsense, they have to have a vow of silence because they can't use their tongue properly, So it's not really for devotees. It's more for those who are like doing meditation or other processes. That they take a monavrat, vow of silence. So okay.
So the devotee is more like engaging.
Yes, that's real proper silence because you're not talking nonsense. You're talking. It is a positive, because it's like. They just come to the point of zero. But the positive is that you talk about Krishna. You can constantly talk about Krishna because otherwise, why would it say Kirtaniya Sada Hari? Constantly chant the holy names. You can't be silent then, But it's only for those who are not so advanced. Mm-hmm.
Some people have these retreats for the silent retreats, and we're thinking we were actually not actually called shut up and chant.
Yeah, so is that okay? Mm-hmm.
But also see that some devotees
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because the pure devotees, they can see, they can glorify all, and they see how even the disciples are so great. Because if you think about this whole pastime is about Prahlad Maharaj, who's a disciple of Nardaman, and Nardaman is glorifying his disciple through these pages of the Bhagavatam, So it's a very nice quality to glorify those who are even junior than us, Should I stop there? Is there anything else? Anything else? Have you got something you want to share? Okay. Yeah. Same kind of question. Yeah. So it says like great saints who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, renunciation. So there's different types of saints, some meditate, some have vows of silence, some perform devotional service, some are renunciants. But of all of them, devotional service is the highest. Krishna even says that. So we're practicing what Krishna says is better than all the others, better than meditation, better than renunciation. Because when we perform devotional service, then automatically detachment and vairagya and what's the other one? Jnana vairagya, right? So knowledge and detachment develop anyway by devotional service. So we don't have to practice separately. We don't have to practice renunciation separately from devotional service. We can all develop when we practice